I think he's gonna go more religious, or not more religious, more survival on this one.
Okay, if he does go religious, I win the next episode you host.
Okay.
Handshake deal?
Okay. Deal.
Okay. Handshake deal. 3, 2, 1, deal.
Hello, survivors, and welcome to another episode of Will You Survive?
The podcast.
Today we're going to be talking about survival, as we always do, based upon a movie. I know most of the time. Before we get into it, though, let me introduce my co-hosts. I have Eric.
Hello, it is me, Eric.
And I have TJ.
Oh, hi, Mock.
And our lovely host, Mark.
And I'm Alex. I'm going to be talking to you about Life of Pi. We have some survival involved in this. We have some psychology. We have some philosophy. We're going to go over a lot of it. So strap yourself in, get your snacks, get ready, and we're going to get right into it. So the first thing.
I have my snacks.
You do have snacks.
I
ate mine.
I'm almost out of snacks,
But we do have adult beverages. Wait, TJ?
Yes.
You have an adult beverage?
Yes, I do.
You looking for it?
No, it's right next
Did you lose it? If you lost it, you don't really have it.
I can't drink it on camera.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
That's true. All right. So what I want to go over in Life of Pi, I want to focus more on the survival aspects of it because I think this gets into the main part of survival, which is psychology.
Why are we just talking about? There's a lot of other stuff in this that I feel like we should bring up.
No.
This guy.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of other, like, like the philosophy of what, like.
No. So what I wanted to get into.
TJ's trying so desperately towards something right now.
So that he can overtalk me?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
It's fine, Eric. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm loving what's happening. Keep it going.
It's fine.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So what we're going to get into first, I won't rule out whatever TJ's talking about. I might get there eventually.
I'm sure we'll touch on it at some point.
But what I wanted to get to first is some of the lessons that Pi's dad taught him as a zookeeper. One of the things that he said that stuck with me was when Pi was so interested in the tiger, who ironically was named Richard Parker. We did learn that was based off of the hunter. It was a mix-up, but I love the name.
That's such a funny way for a tiger to get a name.
Richard Parker.
Oh,
and I guess, right, they said it was so funny, so they kept it.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, it's a good name.
And Pi, going through all of these philosophies and religions, all in his studies, he does what the dad says is he interpolates he transposes his emotion onto the animals.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it wasn't just the tiger that he did this to, but it was the tiger that would have been the most catastrophic, right? So if he would have gone through with his plan of going into the cage with that tiger, which I love what the dad did. It was brutal, it was scarring, but boy, did that teach him a lesson, right? He brought that goat in there.
As like the viewer, you want to side with like the main character, which is Pi. You're like, no, why is his dad being such an asshole? He just wanted to feed the tiger, and then you see what happens. The tiger rips the goat through the bars.
Yep.
That would have just happened to him. You see how
it was
the bars were like
brutal.
this close together.
Yeah.
Like I totally understand where Pi was coming from, but at the same time, it's like, this isn't a dog. This is an apex predator.
Yep.
If not friend,
like
why
he said,
friend-shaped?
like he said,
Why friend shape? I like that.
Like he said, well, I forgot because I got interrupted like 3 times there, but never mind. Go on.
Okay. All right. Brief moment. Cyrelia, thank you for the heart me's. What do we have going on here?
You can't just do that so nonchalant.
Look at
like
your
you didn't
screen,
just do
guys.
this.
Look at your screen and look at what TJ is doing.
What did you just put on?
What is that? You could kind of see it.
Beauty is pain.
Beauty is pain.
Okay.
Gotta get this double chin in order. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So to go back to the dad teaching Pi that lesson, you have to admit that lesson stuck with Pi.
Yeah, I gotta say it is a good lesson because I am that I'm not, but I feel like I'm stupid in that I would feel that connection to an animal that does not have that connection towards me. I like all the bad dogs at work, and I always feel bad for them. So yeah, I think I am smart enough to not do that and to be wise about it, but at
Maybe
the same
not
time,
do that with an apex predator.
Yeah, like I'm more likely to do it with a bad dog, not a Bengal tiger. I think I would have the respect for a Bengal tiger that kind of like what he said. I can't tame it, but maybe I could train it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the concept behind Pi going look at this guy.
Is this also beauty?
Yeah, I gotta keep myself fanned, you know.
Oh my God!
Got the
What are
do-rag,
you
you know?
doing?
I'm up
I
for my
wish
wave game. You know?
I wish I even knew how to describe this to the listeners. But
Oh, they could see him.
the listeners.
Oh, the listeners. Yeah. Sorry.
What kind of technology have you?
I forgot about the listeners.
Expand.
Yeah, I don't even know what.
Oh my God! This guy.
I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't think we're supposed to know what he's up to. This is something. This is something real.
So many screen
He's
shackles.
got a chin strap that's it looks like a giant tampon or not
Perforated chin
tampon, a
strap,
giant
yep.
pad on his chin.
It's not a chin strap. That's a jock strap.
Yeah. It looks like a leather cap, you know, like the starter leather cap you get in every RPG.
Yep.
It looks like that, but it has some design,
It's a do-rag, yep.
It's a do-rag, yeah. And he had an Asian fan that he was holding between his lips and his nose. And he has his headphones over his eyes, the part that would go on top of your head.
Pretty good.
It's going over his eyes like he's Cyclops.
It's pretty good. That's a good description.
That's what I got for you.
So now I'm going to try to carry on here
Yeah.
with all of these distractions, but we're going to go jump into the shipwreck.
I don't survive.
Thank God I've never been in a shipwreck before, but that was epic, right? I mean, number one, you saw all the waves grabbing the sailors and pulling them off of that ship.
If I saw that, holy shit, you know you're fucked. If the crew just got pulled off of the ship by a wave, you're fucked.
You have alarms going off everywhere. You have animals who have escaped. Maybe they were letting them out. I don't know what exactly was happening.
I like to think the dad let them out.
I like to think
But I
that
don't know.
one of them
Maybe.
was
I don't
like-
know.
They like had like a pistol shrimp or something, and he just like punched a hole in the side of the boat, and that's what made all the water rush in.
I am curious what sunk the ship because they never answer that.
They didn't.
But
I think we
I'm
know.
curious. I have to imagine that there's just hull damage or something gave
Well, no,
in
you know, like
in an insane storm.
Well, it shouldn't be as easy as flooding, because even at that day, it seemed like the ship was sophisticated enough that it would have had pumps.
You know, it also like I'm not gonna lie. It was a movie, so I'm gonna give some way for a discrepancy, but it didn't seem like the waves were as high once he was in the water. It didn't look like as bad of a storm as it could be.
Yeah.
Because those waves in oceans with terrible storms could get up to hundreds of feet high.
Yeah.
So
That's what I thought they were.
yeah,
yeah, but like when he was in the water, it was clear that that's not what was happening because I don't think you could survive.
what also
in the
didn't
water.
help is the reason that ships' doors are the way they are is because that creates airtight or watertight chambers. So it could sink like halfway and still be above water
Right.
if the doors are shut. So
Right.
him
Yeah.
opening that door
Exactly.
to get to his family, like he's trying to get to his family. Like I understand, but like him
He
opening that
caused the
probably
boat to
didn't.
sink.
That probably didn't help at all.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But I think it was doomed.
Oh, you know what's
already.
funny? I like the line where he's like, his dad's like, "We're moving. We're gonna sail like Columbus," and he's like, "But Columbus was looking for India.
Yeah.
Why are we going
He
to
got him
Canada when Columbus was
He-
looking for America?"
He got them there.
Your analogy doesn't make sense.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't think I survived the shipwreck. Also, seeing the ship, you're underwater and you're watching the ship sink. I don't think my tiny puny brain could possibly imagine what that would even be like to see.
Good thing he was
That
far
was
away.
impressive.
Because
That would have just sucked him right down.
I would have pulled him
That
down.
is epic. I didn't even consider that.
Yep.
That is epic in a sense, but at the same time, it's like you can never get that image out of your head if you actually went through that and saw that, and then lived to tell the tale.
Exactly.
You would never get that image. Just that complete how small you are in that situation. You're watching a ship sink into nothingness. This massive being.
Yep. And the fact that,
couldn't
I mean, I think you're right, because in those types of storms, the waves being as tall as, 50, 60 feet. And I mean, they're not crashing, but the bottom line is all of the chop is like 5-6 feet. So
Yeah, you're just getting
you're gonna be
pounded left and
struggling
right.
for breath.
I see this happens in Moana too. I don't think I survive any storm when I'm not in a ship. I just don't think you survive that.
Yeah.
Not any real storm. Like some rain comes through, fine, choppy waters, but hundreds of feet these waves are.
Yeah.
I don't think you survive
You gotta
that.
take your breaths when you can, and I think underwater is safer in a sense because you're not getting like chucked around.
No, that current is going to be sucking you so low and throwing you around. I don't think you ever get a chance to breathe.
But yeah, but
Well,
I think that's
it
more
won't-
preferable than fucking getting thrown by a wave, having all the air knocked out of you, and then drowning.
That's the thing. You have to keep your head on a swivel. If one wave comes crashing down on you, and it could come from anywhere, you're done.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part about, and there's like something to this. When you guys ever watch like Discovery Channel, the game cameras that are out at the watering holes of the Sahara or the Serengeti,
Yeah.
how predators and prey alike will go to the watering hole. Now they make light of it in The Lion King, where they're like, oh, they all make peace. There's a truce at the watering hole, but it almost looks like that, right? Like the predators understand and the prey understand, like we all need water. So we're not gonna do this here.
POV.
It would be weird because like the predators could just have a buffet, but they don't. They all move to the water to drink.
But
Meanwhile, there's crocodiles
kinda.
and shit under the water.
Exactly.
I was gonna say the crocodiles don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Well, no, they still don't eat at the crocodiles, but there's like certain places where they all
They're
go
like,
to,
we
to
thrive
drink
in the
where they're-
water. We don't gotta wait for shit.
Yeah, they love it.
No, the crocs are like, I'm literally waiting for you to get to the water.
And then the hippos.
Oh, hippos are assholes.
Oh, did you see the
They're
freaking
mean.
hippo take out a shark in the
That's
movie?
sick.
That was crazy. I think hippo
I
wins
didn't see
against
that.
shark.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was like
Hippo wins against
underwater,
almost everything.
and it fucking like I didn't like just it was crazy.
Dude, hippos are one of the few animals that hunt for sport.
That's bizarre because I still speculate with those raging seas, even a hippo doesn't survive.
Oh no, not the raging seas, but maybe for a second. But
They
I
can
don't
stay
know.
underwater for like a decent amount of time, but if they're
It's
getting
not
thrown
that, it's
around and shit,
That's what I think.
'Cause it's
They're
not
too
like-
big. They're too heavy.
They're used to like
Well, they
calmer
float.
waters.
Do they?
Yeah, they swim. Hippos.
Oh
Well, I
yeah,
know they
they're
swim.
fast as fuck.
I know they swim, but
No, they're buoyant
nothing
as
can
fuck.
really swim in that.
No, not in that. No, that's what I think. Like maybe they survived for a second, but it wasn't the sharks that were killing things in those waters. I don't think realistically it wouldn't be the sharks killing things. It would be the waves. It'd be the pressure being just slammed left and right. I think your brain. I think you get knocked out.
Well, know that in open water there are no waves. Like there's peaks, there's
Well, yeah, 'cause
swells,
it's not, but
but they don't
swells-
crash. They just lift you up and then drop you down.
Well,
Like
unless two of them lash together.
they don't. There's
I guess
nothing
that's
out
true.
there for them to redirect. So they all go in the same direction. They follow the current. But so
Yeah,
there
they
are
don't
such things as rogue waves
overturn.
though. Like it can happen, but it's just not common.
They
that-
crash on the shore because there's less water in front of them than there is behind.
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
it's pulling and then it. But if there's
It's-
water
it's
on both
almost-
sides, it just goes up and it's a big ass bubble.
It's the same
wave.
thing. The same thing, only different when you talk about like tsunamis. A tsunami out in open ocean is like 1 or 2 centimeters tall. It's nothing, right? But then as it gets closer to the shore, it grows and grows and
And
grows.
that's why it pulls
and,
all the water away from the shore.
and it slows way down too. So I mean, it'll go at like 1,200 miles an hour in open ocean, and then when it gets close to the shore, it slows down to like 30 miles an hour. But it's enormous. So something that I would bring up in this aspect.
They're here.
Who?
The zombies.
I thought the gate would stop him.
They knocked it down instantly.
How much time do we have?
They're already here.
We should have bought that beautiful Los Angeles dream house in that safe neighborhood that Corinne showed us.
I know, it was so much more defensible, and Corinne would have had us moved in before the apocalypse.
Do you think it's too late to call her now?
I'll try. No! Ah! We should have called Corinne sooner!
Don't wait until it's too late. Call Corinne Salas today at 714-510-6443 and buy your Los Angeles dream house now. That's 714-510-6443. You can also find her on Instagram at Next Home by Corinne or visit her website at corinnesalas.nexthomegrandview.com. That's CORINNESALAS.nexthomegrandview.com.
I'd like to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
And now this is almost directly related to this movie. There's a couple of parallels that it could be more generic, but in this movie, the comment, survival is about adaptation, not dominance. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's
Well, he in order to survive, he adapted himself to be dominant because he was kind of a little wuss the entire movie. And then he was like, well, we're stuck like this. I'm going to teach this tiger who's boss. He straight up like squared up with him like, hey, this is my tuna, you know?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of agree with TJ.
You survive to adapt and you adapt to survive.
I think
TJ,
like
will you
it's I
survive
think it's a
2025?
balance. I think it's a balance. It's both, you know?
Well, so the concept I'm looking at here is that he never once tried to, he didn't lie to himself that he could dominate Richard Parker. So as TJ said, he kind of found a way to coexist with him.
But he did dominate him.
No, he really didn't.
Josh, thank you for the heart.
Even when he started like trying to teach him, he could never really dominate him. He had moments. The one moment when he had the spear-like stick and he jumped over him and he was, yelling at him. I think you're right. He
Over the fish?
over Richard Parker.
Yeah, so
it was when he went to go grab the fish from Richard Parker. Yes.
It was after. So he had the harpoon, right? That's when he got like right after they got beat up by all those flying fish, which like that was kind of sick. He got
that was
the tuna,
nuts.
right? Went back to his little spot, cut it up, and then he put it in a bag and he sharpened one of the oars into like the pointy wood stick.
Yep.
To keep distance, but also to like. He was like, if I tap here, that's where food's going to be. If I tap over there, that's where food's going to be. It was his
lure.
But remember, like, he actually shoved that stick into Richard Parker's mouth.
It was a punishment, but it was also a lure. It was to teach Richard Parker. But where I mean he dominated him is when he got on the boat, like on the wood part with Richard Parker, and he told Richard Parker to go underneath the tarp to go back to his home.
Like,
and Richard Parker didn't want to. And then he yelled and got big, and Richard Parker ran away. He dominated that tiger there.
Interesting.
I see that as dominance.
He did it a couple times.
The tiger,
with the tuna,
the tuna was another dominance moment where he said, "All right, you're the fucking alpha. You take that fish. I'll eat these fish. You fucking won. I'll back off." So I think he did dominate the tiger.
Okay.
Now, whether or not you actually could dominate a tiger in that situation, I don't know enough about tigers. I would like to say theoretically maybe, because animals are smart. And I do think it would realize if you are providing for it, and it's in a completely unknown environment like this, and it's had a life or death moment, and you have saved it, I think it might be smart enough to realize I may not like you, but I do need you.
So I like that point because of the fact that Pi makes that exact point in a different way by saying he and Richard Parker had the same exact experience of the open world. Now, granted, you and I might disagree with open world, ocean, isolated, but they were on their own is the meaning, right? They had to, Pi had to fend for himself and feed Richard Parker to prevent Richard Parker from trying to kill him. So it was life on their own. And it was interesting that Richard Parker had relied on men all of his life, I think. I think he was bred in captivity. And so what experience did he have? Didn't mean that he was any less dangerous. Probably not. I shouldn't say that. Probably not as dangerous as a wild Bengal tiger.
Yeah.
But, maybe a wild Bengal tiger would take out Richard Parker in 2 seconds, right? But not any less dangerous to a man.
Yeah, to a human with no tools or gun or anything. Yeah, you're completely kind of at the mercy of that tiger. But yeah, I do think it's really interesting the idea that the tiger would realize that it needs you to survive, and that's an interesting point. It was raised by humans its entire life, but I don't know if that would probably build more resentment than anything. But you got to imagine, all I kept thinking about for a lot of this film was that poor tiger is more confused than anybody else in this entire movie.
Yep.
This tiger who grew up in captivity is now in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Yep.
On a lifeboat, completely out of its element, as far removed from the only thing that would be more removed from its element would be sending a tiger to space.
Yeah.
Other than that, this tiger has no idea what is going on.
Now, without going into a whole religious diatribe, because I think this works for a person of faith and an atheist nonetheless. Faith and belief can be survival tools. In this particular movie, I don't know that religion had anything to do with Pi surviving, because he was kind of a believer of all things at that point, right? So it would be just as important for him or for anybody in this situation, whether you have faith in a deity or at the very least faith in yourself, to survive alone the psychological torment and the physical rigors. What do you guys think?
I think regarding the religion thing, I kind of agree with the dad, where it's like, if you believe in everything all at the same time, then you might as well believe in nothing. I kind of get that.
It's like the it's Master of None. What's the beginning of that? It's like
Jack of all trades,
Master of none. It's that same type.
Yeah,
of
but you gotta finish that phrase though. Do you know what the rest of that is? Jack of all trades,
better than a master of none or something.
It's better than a master of one.
Yeah.
Being a jack of all trades is not the bad thing, but I get your point. And what you're saying, I think is also true, because the dad was, I thought the dad was very wise. You're not really doing yourself any favor if you're just saying, believe in all things. Mm-hmm. But what I found interesting was all things that Pi knew that he had learned really came in handy at different points.
Yeah. So that's where, this took like a much more extreme point, but there was a guy who once went around. I should find the book before I try to really reference it, but I'm not going to. This guy went around the world, and his whole point was to discover what's the purpose of religion. If not for discovering the truth of creation and everything, what's the point of religion for humanity? Mm-hmm. And his conclusion was that no matter what the religion, well, for the most part, most religions provided some sort of moral compass for humanity. And that was, in his mind, the point of religion, is that it gave some sort of moral compass for people to follow, because if left to their own devices, it's just someone makes up that moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And about the whole religion thing, this is a very religion-filled movie. Eric thought not, but it is.
I didn't say that. I said it has more. It has I guess an undercurrent of religion all the way through.
Yeah.
But and that it shows in different points, like where he thinks he sees God in the storm.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes a little crazy there for a second. But it was kind of like, I don't know, it was a little admirable. But I think a little stupid as well. It almost got him and Richard Parker killed. What I think was bad about that moment is he'd promised Richard Parker that would be his safe space, his home. And then he took that away from Richard Parker. And I don't think that ever really played effect, but in the dog training world, breaking that kind of promise, it hurts trust. And in my mind, when I saw that, I would have thought that Richard Pryor would have been like, what the fuck, dude? You said that was my spot, and you immediately invaded it.
And what do you think, TJ?
So I love this movie. So I was, paying attention, because I wanted to, talk about some stuff. So if you've seen the name of the ship that crashed, it was called Simsum. Timtsum. It's a Hebrew word. It refers to the reduction or contraction of God from the universe at the moment of creation. So this whole movie is basically like God contracting himself, like the ship, God contracting himself from Pi in order for him to really like gain his own, right? So the reason God stepped away from the universe, he's like, yo, I'm gonna step away. It's gonna build itself, find its own way. Basically, that's what this whole movie is about. Pi. He's finding his own self because he had 4 religions. He didn't know what path he was going on. So throughout this whole journey, that was him finding his path to who he is.
And that's a good take too, because Pi, in not so many words, in more description and action, displayed that exact point. Was his father teaching him you can't believe in everything,
and him learning firsthand.
He learned that firsthand, and the irony of it was, and I will acquiesce to your statement, TJ. There's a lot of religious undertones, especially to the point of surrender, right? When he said, okay, I give up, I surrender.
I'm not saying this doesn't have like heavy notes of religion all throughout it, but I do like, so TJ and I had TJ was saying that he thought you were going to talk a lot more about religion this episode, and I may have had an inkling that you weren't going to, but I also
he still mentioned it first. I'm just saying he mentioned it first.
We think very similar. Religion was not really on the forefront of my mind with this movie. I don't know, like it definitely had a heavy part in the movie, but to me that was not the entire main focus of it. I don't know, but I was also just watching it for the first time, watching this guy tame a tiger. So I thought,
I mean, you can definitely go down a lot of the roads, but I love how they portrayed multiple religions. One of the things, the Hinduism, how this boy he did what he had to do when he killed that fish, even though he was bawling his eyes out and apologizing as he's hatcheting it.
That was also such a brutal way to fucking kill it, because he was not hitting it with the sharp part of the hatchet.
He wasn't.
He was bunting that shit.
That's how you're supposed to kill a fish, though. Usually you just smack it with like a big ass bat.
You
or
knock
you
it
do
out.
ikajime, which is you shove a rod through its spinal cord, which apparently makes it fresher.
He was bashing this thing's head in.
If he had a knife, he would go through the gills and out, and
he had a hatchet. Just chop it at the head.
It was big.
Chop
the
it at
hatchet
the
was
head.
small. It would have taken a lot of blows the same way.
It would have died quick.
Probably a little bit dull, considering it's been in seawater constantly.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Now, okay, but this is the part that I really think I really think TJ might surprise me here. Well, not surprise me. I shouldn't say that, because I'm not going to be surprised if you come up with a lot here. Resourcefulness is key. So Pi uses everything at his disposal, right? He rations food, collects rainwater, and he shows that survival it's about making the most of what you have. I think it's Tony Robbins who says resources don't matter. Resourcefulness is what matters. And that's not an exact quote, but I wanted to tip it to you and let you talk about some of the things that we saw that Pi did being resourceful on a freaking on a raft off of a survival boat
with a tiger.
With a tiger,
yeah. One thing he didn't grab the fucking bananas. You fucking idiot! He just let them float off, bro. I would have grabbed so many of them bananas. He grabbed one, threw it at the orangutan, didn't even want it.
I'm glad that you brought that up, but you actually had more of a mind than I did. I would not have grabbed those bananas. I think I had the same fatal thought process as Pi. This isn't going to be that long.
No, if I'm out on the water, I'm preparing for the worst. I'm extremely afraid of the ocean. The ocean is scary.
Yeah, I'm also thinking, I'm gonna fucking die here.
Yeah, because like he was over the Mariana Trench, and all the currents are pointing towards like away from where he's coming, which is closer, but where he's going is like 7,000 miles away, and he's on a thing going probably like 1 knot. You know?
That's why I love when he's looking at the map of the currents and he's like,
He's
"There's no lines."
Where's the lines? Where's the mini map?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, but what he did for like survival, like his like stuff, solar still.
There you go.
I was
That was
hyped.
cool.
I was like, "Yo, dude, finally fucking
that
Leah
little
shows
hub,
up."
That little hub sticking off of his raft, so cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. The little second raft he made, that was like his first edition of it, clearly trash. But as the movie goes on, he like upgrades it. He's so resourceful with the boat too, because he's like, this isn't needed for it to float. So he's taking all this wood and stuff. He ended up making like a pretty decent raft by the end, which had another water collection system. Whilst like you seen it, he made like a little cover and then he made a hole in it and it was just piss and water in this bucket. But he was also doing other stuff while he was doing that. So he's like managing his time. He's staying busy. He made drums for
Like it
himself to keep
said.
himself like sane. That's a good thing.
Like it said, stay busy, but don't exert yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
He found a lot of little projects to do.
All right. How good was it when he had said that he had to design something? What was the plan? Like a circus ringleader that he was supposed to come about with his plan. Let me do this stupid thing here. He was supposed to, like a ringleader in a circus, get the tiger seasick.
When he was doing his steps 1 to 5.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Is it?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
So,
I don't know, because he's entirely right that kind of association works with canines. That is entirely something that when he started doing that, and he was like the harsh whistles during the seasickness and the calm whistles when it calms. That's
he's
fucking
gonna associate
brilliant.
it with the seasickness, just like when Eric knows when they had the clicker with dogs.
Yeah.
Like, they do something good.
And
click. That means you
If
get
the
a treat.
if the tiger learns that he controls that, oh shit.
Yeah. So
Like fucking brilliant. I don't know if that would actually work with a Bengal tiger, but that kind of animal psychology is brilliant.
Also-
Maybe just that he didn't do it long enough.
But I think it would take a lot of conditioning.
Yeah.
But like, he's not wrong. There's tigers that work in circuses.
Yeah.
And
Tigers can be trained.
one of the best things he did for like survival wise is he actually read the manual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The seasickness thing. He knew that because of the manual. It said make sure you point towards the waves and not sideways, because that's what causes the seasickness. And he was like, "Oh, bet I can make this
I'm gonna
tiger
use
sick."
that.
And
Yeah.
he used he used all the
And
resources he had.
And he knew that, like, from what his dad was saying about the animals getting seasick, and I think that's brilliant. I don't know if it would actually work against a tiger, but I do think that premise is definitely, that is, at least in the canine world, that is entirely true. You can build those negative and positive associations with whistles and clickers based off of what the situations that you present.
He was a bit
It's
of
called
a
antecedent
dumbass
arrangement.
having all of his food and water in one place. That
I said the exact same
on the
thing.
less steady little raft he had. Like, it was great. Like, he had it to a point where he's not soaking wet all the time. But a big ass
I
wave's
fully
not going to
agree.
stop. Like, I would have at least tried to strap it down with something. There's rope there.
I said I would have brought a chunk of it on with me so that I don't have to constantly go back to the boat, but I would leave the majority of it on the boat because of that exact situation.
Yeah.
Because, like,
So
the canned shit, the tiger's not going to eat the canned shit. He can't smell what's
Yeah.
in the cans. The biscuits, he's not going to eat the biscuits. I mean, like,
He doesn't
not
care.
interested.
he's not he's
The
he's a
only
carnivore.
reason he did it was so that he didn't have to keep going back to the boat and confronting the tiger to get the food, which I understand. But at the same time, it's like you gotta weigh out the risks. One wave hits you good enough and you lose all your food.
Flipped. You're done.
Or you have to go back to the boat every once in a while and try to get food. From a tiger who's already, I wouldn't say becoming accepting of you, but understands your presence.
Yep.
Or you Mother Nature hates you and you get flipped over by a fucking whale, which is, it's kind of his fault because he was fucking with the plankton, which is what whales eat.
That caused the whale to come.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would have never fucking known that.
But how how freaking cool was that?
Oh yeah,
right?
it's dope.
I mean,
I want to see that in real life because that shit does happen.
I would have if I've been.
I saw
stuck-
minor breaches. You were there. We've seen minor breaches. Whale watching.
I was seasick while that was happening,
Yeah.
but yeah. I don't know if I was going through all that and then I got to see something like that. I would also get excited about how pretty that looks, and it's like a moment of
Bioluminescent
joy
shit is so
in
cool.
such
Yeah.
suffering that I could see myself getting fully.
I've seen
lost in
orcas. I've seen orcas before. Orcas are dope.
that. I've been to SeaWorld. I've seen orcas.
That's not the same. I seen them in the wild, breaching, doing
All
their
right,
shit.
so let me move us along a little bit. Talk about how this movie shows us how isolation can be just as threatening as the physical dangers, right? Like this guy was in some serious harm being alone like that, and he ended up. I mean, he admitted it. He had to like bond with Richard Parker in order to keep his sanity. In his narration, he actually says that it was Richard Parker and him having to provide for Richard Parker that kept him alive. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that process, on how important it is to keep your mind active, and do you believe that loneliness is as dangerous as hunger?
I do. I believe that Richard Parker was his Wilson. I think you need something to talk to.
Oh, Wilson.
Yeah, no, I believe that everything else wants to kill you out there, including your brain. No matter where you are, what survival situation you're in, you gotta keep a cool head. So if that means keeping a tiger alive, feeding, caring for something, I think that'll ultimately help, even if it is trying to fucking kill you at points.
All right.
I would still try to pet it.
So
Like if I ever seen like his tail like out of the boat a little bit, I would just
Grab it.
I would just annoy the shit out of him. Oh yeah, you would die quick. Me too. I would do the exact same thing.
Just like, please love me.
I would like to say that to me, this is well. Let me sidetrack really quick. There was a comedian who was talking about the difference between cats and dogs, according to a criminal forensics investigator, and they said that this wasn't a bit, so I don't know if it's actually true. They said that dogs, when they would discover a dead body in a house and they would discover that there was a dog there, the dog would be sitting by the dead body. Cats, it'd be eating the face. Every time. To me, this is just owning a big cat. That's all it is. It hates you, except this cat can actually kill you.
Yep.
Unlike most cats who can just severely hurt you. So it's just like having a cat, really. It doesn't actually really like you, but when it needs something,
It tolerates
it's willing to tolerate you.
That's
That's how I felt about this whole movie.
Cuddles, people, cat people.
Exactly.
It includes cuddles. If they need the cuddles, that means they'll be nice to you. It's not because they.
It's true.
It
I
took
believe
Richard
that.
Parker being almost like completely dying to be like, yeah, I'll put my head on your lap. I need some pets right now.
Which I would
So-
pet the fuck out of that. Like,
If
it's okay, I'm here.
I'm not gonna lie. To me, that would be a gift from God.
I'd be like,
To be able
Papa's
to pet
here.
a Bengal tiger.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Oh my God.
I'd- I'd
That's
whisper-
what
It
I
might be
imagine.
the last thing you do.
That's what I imagine David must have felt like in the lion's den.
Jesus.
I would have whispered into your like, as soon as you're dead, I'm eating your face. Can't let
Just
that
to
meat go to
assert
waste. I don't
dominance.
care. There's got to be some meat somewhere. Hey, I'd do it. I don't care.
But so here's another thing.
TJ would be like the guys in The Gray. Take the first bite of the Bengal tiger. Oh, that tastes like shit.
I
still
think
eat it. I don't care.
at the end of the movie when he was so heartbroken about Richard Parker not looking
turning
back at him, I think the respect was that Richard Parker didn't eat him right then.
Well, yeah, it was also
That
a callback
Richard Parker
to what his dad
went
said.
off into the jungle.
Like
About what?
They're not your friend.
They're not your friend. You're looking into their eyes and seeing what
Your
you're putting.
emotions.
Yeah, your emotions.
Good point.
So,
But no, I don't think it's a good point because if that was the case, Richard Parker would have eaten him.
Yeah,
He
I
no
don't-
longer needed him.
I think
but
he
he
was just
didn't.
weak and he was just ready to get off that boat.
But exactly, but that's even more reason why he would have eaten the easy prey that was sitting right there. He didn't need him anymore. He was on the ground, but he left it.
That
So-
might have been his exact thought when he stood at the edge of that forest is, do I need to go
Damn,
in
I
here
should
and hunt
turn
for
back.
my own shit?
No,
or
so
go back there and
so
eat that
me and
motherfucker?
Maddie, I was gonna say this earlier, I forgot. Me and Maddie were watching this together, And I was like at that scene, I was like, Richard Parker then went to a school and murdered a bunch of children because he was starving to death. And and then Maddie was just like, yeah, they were probably preschoolers.
Oh.
I'm like, damn,
Oh
a bunch
my
of Mexican
God.
preschoolers got mauled by a tiger. That's crazy.
And we look up in
Great
history and
ending.
see that that's true.
Like, where the fuck did this tiger come from?
It's like, I thought you said this was a fictional story.
We're in fucking Mexico. Why is there a tiger? La tigre.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Richard Parker did respect him, and that's why he didn't eat him then. He left to go fend for himself. And Pi took that personally and took it as like a kind of like a painful thing. But then there was that last scene where it shows you, supposedly what Richard Parker saw. And Richard Parker saw Pi before walking off into the forest. Like, it was almost showing like that's what Richard Parker imagined when walking up to that forest, is seeing Pi there. That's kind of what I got. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood that
He was
scene.
also
All right.
very, very starving, and he was just probably hallucinating.
So, to round this out, my last point here is the film suggests that survival isn't just about the physical struggle, but also about the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of suffering. That would lead to the point that truth can be subjective. Do you have any thoughts on that point?
Eric, would you like to go first? I've been going first.
Oh,
like
I
this
mean,
whole time.
I think it's true. I don't think it's just the physical, because if you don't have the will to live, it doesn't matter how strong you are. I don't think you're going to live. And that's kind of like my point in this movie is, first of all, after the shipwreck, do you know how fucking cold I would be?
Oh, well, yeah,
I'd be so miserable.
But let me hone this down just a little bit for you. I want to be a little more specific on the answer, which is the end of the movie. He tells two stories. Does that indicate to you that truth is subjective? Is it in the eye of the beholder, if you will?
Well, to me, no, honestly. Like, to me, I think there is objective truth, and I think I want to believe the first story more, because it is reminiscent to me of things that would happen in the Bible, where, when you read it just at face value, you're like, that's absolutely stupid, that's insane. But then when you put some reality to it and you're like, oh, well, let's imagine that, yeah, these were these guys who were living in these really ancient times. They probably didn't understand this thing that now we understand is completely scientifically provable and is a scientific thing. But there's no way they could have possibly known about that, and yet they still recorded it. And so it's like, just because it is scientifically explainable, to me does not mean that that's not God. Because in my mind, God made science. So he uses science to fulfill whatever he is going to do on Earth.
So are you saying, can I sum it up, truth is perspective?
I guess so. I don't know. I think I might be too philosophical for me.
What do you say, TJ?
I had a similar point that Eric had, where I was gonna bring up, like, it's kind of like the Bible, and like there are people who believe and don't. But I would say, like, truth is in the eye of the beholder, type shit. Like you believe what you want to believe, but at the end of the day, either happened or didn't, and either way, it's a good story. Also, I want to see the movie about the second story. I feel like that would be a great brutal movie to watch.
I feel very much like, I don't know, I'm conflicted, because I feel like the first story is the one that happened, but also at the same time it's like, well,
it's like,
either one or the other happened. I don't think there is like this whole, well, either could be true. No, one of them is true or not.
well, people.
So, because there is an objective reality, like something happened. Whether or not you can explain why it happened doesn't really matter to me, but the objective reality of what happened happened.
But Eric,
and I don't know. I think that's why I mean, like, in the Bible, those things objectively happened. They happened. How they happened, that's the whole big debate. Like, Jesus existed. No one doubts that Jesus existed. There's too much evidence.
Ignorant people do.
Ignorant people do, but real people who really look at it, all the evidence is there. Jesus was a real dude, really existed. Now the claims are what's in dispute. whether or not Jesus actually was the Son of God and actually did what they say he did, that's what's in dispute. But to me, like, to say, like, well, both stories can be true, it's like, well, no, one of them is true. One of them happened, and I would like to know which one happened. But ultimately, when it comes to what the two insurance guys were talking about, he still doesn't know what fucking happened to the ship, so it doesn't matter.
People are less likely to believe in the fantasticalness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so, and that's what
everybody, it's believe. Yeah, Jesus was a real dude. Did he walk on water? Did he change water to wine? Did he cure the blind?
That's the whole debate. Did he come back from the dead? Is the big one.
That's fantastical shit, right? That's that's mythical levels of shit. Just like, hey, there's this island full of fucking meerkats that turns into acid at night
that no one has ever seen.
That no one's ever seen. The trees aren't
like,
a thing in real. Like nobody. It's fantastical, right? Which
it can't exist based on science.
It was also a, it was temptation.
But see, that's something that you've said once, Alex, that I really liked, which is what you said. It wasn't. It was kind of tempting, but it also it wasn't at the same time. It was exactly what Pi said, that God knew he needed a rest, and so he gave him a rest, but then gave him a sign that this is not your final place. This isn't the place to stay forever. This was my gift to you.
And it was still a difficult decision to make,
and then now
have to leave.
Yeah,
because that's tough. But that to me was one of what was like a heavy hitting point, kind of like in your Christian faith walk, where you realize like sometimes God takes things away from you, and it feels so shitty in the moment, and you're so upset about it. But what he has planned to give you later is much, much better. And you couldn't possibly imagine how much better it is for you. But we always get so stuck up on what we're losing in the moment. Yeah. And it's hard to just give that up and go, okay, I surrender. Whatever you have planned for me is better. This sucks, but I'll give it up.
That's why this podcast is sponsored by Benson Boone. You know that one song?
Don't
take...
There you go.
I want you, I need you, oh God. No,
I thought you were going to say sponsored by the Bible.
I know.
So, what I wanted to finish with real quick was the point that I got at the end when he told the second story. I realized when he told that story, there was absolutely no point to the second story. It was just more believable.
Yeah, and you see how he applied himself as like
the tiger.
He
was Richard Parker.
He was Richard Parker. It's like it's his, like, it's like symbolism for his want to survive type beat. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's also like what Alex said. It's so funny that these guys wanted to know why the ship sank, and they needed a more believable story. So he gives them a more believable story, but it still does not answer at all.
Nothing to do with the ship
They were so like inconsiderate about it too. They're like,
"Yep,
yeah, that's crazy, bro. What actually happened?" Like, brother, bro's been at sea for fucking like a year. I don't know how long. Probably like a year.
But like older Pi said, what does it even matter?
Yep.
Because they just wanted a more believable story, but for what?
For what?
Also, for absolutely what? What is the point?
After his brother, I seen that at the end.
I noticed that was the moment that I almost cried on that moment. I was like, no,
I was teary eyed when he was holding Richard Parker, dude. I was like, fuck.
Oh, dude, that was moving, right? Like, when he held his head, he held Richard Parker's head in his lap, and he says, "We're dying. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that was rough. Think of
all the pets I put down, dog.
That's tough right there. I can't.
It's like, damn, Richard Parker, I got to put you down. Hits him with a hatchet.
Multiple times.
The blunt end.
Oh my God.
This weak-ass, frail-ass Indian boy can't even knock out a fish in one shot.
Beating a tiger.
He's like, stay still, stay still.
Oh my God.
And then he eats his face.
And with that, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in for this episode. Let me calculate the points here. And who wants to do the socials?
Oh, That's interesting. That's normally a you thing. Do I get a point if I do
Yeah,
it?
you can find us everywhere at Will You Survive the Podcast.
Will You Survive the
can
Podcast?
Find us. If you want to email us, you can hit us up at the boys.
The boys
at Will You Survive
willyoursurvivethepodcast.com.
Yep. If you
I
want to
said it
see us do some gaming, WIS Gaming
Will
on
You
TikTok.
Survive Gaming?
WIS Gaming. It's not Will You Survive Gaming. It's WIS Gaming, actually.
Shut up,
if
fucking
you,
brown noser.
If you want to hit me up on TikTok, it's Gemini_WIS. Yeah. Oh, if you make sure to send us an email. We really will respond to it on the podcast. Give you a little shout out, read what you're talking about. Make sure to rate us, please. You can rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's also where you can find us everywhere. We are ranked very highly on Good Pods because we are amazing.
We are.
Am I missing anything, sir?
Nope. That's everything. And here we go. Once again, you guys coming in squeaker. The last question decided it. I've got the first point went to Eric. The second point went to Eric. The third point went to TJ. The fourth point went to TJ.
Seems rigged.
And the fifth point, the tiebreaker, the last one I asked you about, decides the winner.
Find out next time on fucking commercial break.
The winner that we have this episode will be Eric.
Let's go! I knew it. I knew that was gonna happen.
That's fine.
How?
I just had a feeling because he had a wrong idea of what you were going to talk about this episode.
That's fine because
Did I throw you off, TJ?
because I know who's winning next episode.
He was very stubborn.
Yeah, I said
it's
if
gonna
he
be him.
mentions it,
No,
I
you
did.
know,
Yeah,
you
I
know
will.
that was not. It is
I said-
recorded.
I
That is
said
not
if
what
he
you
mentions
said.
it,
No,
if he
you did
talks
not.
about
You're not saying
religion-
mentions. No, you said if
if
he
he
talks
talks-
more about religion than survival.
Nope.
Yes, that is what we talked about.
Nope.
Yes, it was if he talks more about religion than survival.
That is
And
not
you
what we
talked
said.
Way more about
That
is
is
exactly.
not what
It
we
is
said.
literally recorded. I'm so glad we were recording. This is
That is
why
not
it's in the
what he said.
bylaws that we have to be recording.
I like it.
That is not
So
what he
he
said.
doesn't win the next episode. He doesn't even know the handshake that we made.
You can't make a handshake and then go back on the handshake,
This
TJ.
guy.
I'm not going back on that. I will send me the fucking audio after.
I will.
You know.
All right, survivors, thank you so much
Anyways,
for tuning in to
stay
this
alive.
episode. We hope
recording.
that you'll come back next time. Follow us along. And until then, stay alive.
Stay alive.